we're talking about what's going to happen in the UK in the near future. One of the things that is, of course, going to happen is the next step in Brexit, a fairly significant one. So what's actually going to happen later this week?
Well, yeah, tomorrow, isn't it?
Finally. Oh, I guess it is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, Friday's coming up soon. Okay, good news here on the Damage Report. So what is actually going to happen?
I mean, I guess in terms of how are people's day-to-day lives going to change after tomorrow night, I don't think it's going to be very sort of tangible, but it is really now the point of no return. There's no turning back. We can't reverse this. If we ever want to re-enter the EU, then we have to reapply, and I don't know why they would let us back in. I don't know if you saw that Nigel Farage had this like utterly like such an ugly display at the EU parliamentary debate the other day, sort of waving around a Union Jack flag and making loads of very awful jokes really shortly after an Auschwitz survivor had just given a really touching speech. I mean, one thing that I hope comes of this, now that it's kind of hopefully, I mean, just happening now, is that this like farcical display of all these like bad guys just stops. Like I feel like this has just started this pantomime, you know, and that's not to say that these people like Farage weren't completely awful human beings before Brexit, but I hope that there's going to be less of this kind of like charade.
Yeah, I feel like, first of all, I would never place my money on the farcical display of bad guys ending. I think that's where, I think we're stuck with that.
Yeah.
But I do feel like, obviously there have always been bad politicians. I feel like there is a sort of joy like that they have taken upon themselves over the past few years, because there are so many people, like including some young people, online people, that just want to see their side sort of spit in the face of other people. And I think that that's led to a viciousness that we haven't seen in a while, at least. So really fast, for the purposes of people at home who haven't necessarily been following the whole Brexit thing very much, we've heard for a long time about different forms of Brexit, usually measured by softness to hardness. This is the hard kind, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, we're still going to be in trade talks. Freedom of movement is still happening. I think that you can only stay in European countries for 90 days, I think, without applying for a visa, I believe. But I don't know. Lots of stuff remains to be seen. But you know, I feel like the actual most sort of day-to-day changes that most people are going to feel soon is like their passport's going to be blue. There's going to be some Brexit 50Ps. The hatred and the like horrible kind of I don't know, like fractured nature of the UK that happened after the referendum result. So I mean, that's just been something that people have been living with for years now.
Yeah. Do you think that after it happens, I saw it was some official in the UN was saying, oh yeah, inevitably the millennials they're gonna hate this. It's gonna be terrible, and someday they will reverse it. I guess the process you were talking about is. Like obviously it's been a big part of UK politics. There's been a lot of anger, but it's always been sort of like what's going to happen. Is it possible that once it's done and the effects actually sink in, could there be some sort of backlash, either politically in terms of support for the parties or possibly down the line reversing it?
I mean, I hope so. I think that there were so many lies fed to us throughout the campaign. Like the Leave campaign was a fraudulent campaign in my view, and we're now about to start paying the EU a bunch of like divorce money. I think that when people actually sort of like sit with the reality of what's happened and how completely pointless it was, that once people have got their energy back. We were talking about a nation that's been so fatigued by this thing for years and years, and the effects are so abstract. It's really difficult to determine how people actually feel about it. So yeah, I mean, I'm exhausted and I don't even live in the UK anymore.
Exactly, you're a bit removed from it. For more political news, breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.